Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Lakwe Banjo. The Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives investigating the April 18th invasion of the Senate by thugs has called for the suspension and prosecution of Senator Omo-Agege for complicity in the attack. The senator, according to the panel, should be prosecuted for treasonable felony and conspiracy to steal, while his suspension should be for 180 legislative days.
As soon as the DPO of police, the National Assembly DPO of police, gave his testimony to the committee, he was transferred out of Abuja to the Northeast.
The system was porous. It was porous because the defendant had no full control. So going out to fish out who made it porous and so on would be a wide goose chase. They can't come to say, yes, all those that were at that gate were negligent, and you can't determine the criminal liability of their negligence, how the scope of it and all whatnot.
The House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the finances and actual production capacity of the NNPC from January 2018 to date. The investigation is aimed at ascertaining the volume of sales of crude oil of the NNPC.
Voted in to represent our interest and concern of Nigeria. It's not only for us to come here and deliberate on other policy issues, but also to look into the revenue that's accruing to the country and how that revenue should be divided.
I beg themselves bigger than this government. They are beginning to use our national commonwealth in any way they deem fit. Mr. Speaker, this investigation is critical. Not only is it important, but I think we need to exercise the greatest amount of pressure on NNPC to do what they're supposed to do.
The federal government says it has never been on the defensive in its response to Amnesty International's report on human rights in the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama stated this on Tuesday in Abuja when the National Human Rights Commission delegation, led by its Executive Secretary, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, paid him a courtesy visit. The news agency of Nigeria reports that the Amnesty International's country reports and other reports on Nigeria always put the international non-governmental organization at loggerheads with the Nigerian military. Onyeama said that the military was doing enough in enthroning human rights promotion architecture in the country. In a related development, Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama says the issue of security of Nigerians living in South Africa will be part of the discussion as its President Cyril Ramaphosa visits Nigeria on Wednesday. Onyeama told the news agency of Nigeria in Abuja on Tuesday that the South African President Ramaphosa would arrive in Abuja for a working visit to Nigeria. He said that the federal government was working hard to ensure that the lives of Nigerians living in South Africa were secured. Onyeama said that the Nigerian and South African countries were serious about the implementation of the early warning mechanism established to address the security issue in South Africa. And when we return, we'll bring you the latest updates on the ongoing trade war between the US and China, the peace deal between longtime foes Ethiopia and Eritrea, and more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. And China has said it's shocked after the US announced plans for fresh tariffs, escalating a trade war between the two countries. The US listed $200 billion worth of additional products in its intent to place tariffs on as soon as September. The move comes just days after the two countries imposed tit-for-tat tariffs for $34 billion on each other's goods. Beijing described Washington's latest threat as totally unacceptable, saying it would hurt the world. And in Ivory Coast, President Alassane Ouattara named a new government on Tuesday, but the key positions of finance, defense, and agriculture were unchanged. A presidential spokesman has said that Ouattara dissolved the administration last week because of a row within his ruling coalition. Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly will retain the finance portfolio, and Hamed Bakayoko retains defense, and Mamadou Soulibaly Sangafoa remains agriculture minister. Ethiopia's Prime Minister said his government wants to implement a deal restoring relations with former foe Eritrea quickly to make up for lost opportunities. After a 2-decade military standoff, Abiy Ahmed signed an agreement with Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki on Monday, formally declaring the state of war between the two neighboring states, stating that this war was now over. The historic reconciliation could transform politics and security in the volatile Horn region, which hundreds of thousands of young people have fled in recent years in search of safety and opportunities in Europe. Reactions have trolled in from the opposition party, who have expressed their dissatisfaction with the announcement of the October 7th date for presidential election in Cameroon by President Paul Biya. It is difficult to understand that in a democratic country, the President of the Republic expected to be candidate during the elections holds the exclusive right to choose the date for an election. In other countries where democracy is ideal, the date of the presidential election is known at least 12 months in advance. Spokesman of the opposition, Jean-Robert Wafo, said this. Member of the ruling CPDM party in the country, however, held a different opinion, asserting that the president acted in accordance with the law and within the confines of the law. Though the president announced the date for the presidential election, he did not indicate whether or not he would run for a 7th re-election. His supporters have consistently presented him as the ideal presidential candidate. And we'll take the business report shortly after this break. Welcome back to Plus TV News on the Hour. The federal and state governments have rejected NNPC's submitted revenue figures for the month of May. This happened during the monthly Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting. According to a finance commissioner, the reason for the rejection was due to the dissatisfaction of the presented revenue figures by the NNPC. The meeting has thus been moved to Thursday for NNPC to make the necessary adjustments to their figures. This would now be the second time an agreement has not been reached by the committee with respect to its revenue figures, as the first meeting held on June the 27th did not come to a conclusion. The Nigerian stock market closed with a downward trend today as all-share index dropped by 0.06% to close at 37,421.01. Leading the list of top gainers was Fort Oil, which gained 2 naira and 7 kobo. Other gainers were Custodian with 49 kobo and ETI with 2 kobo, Unilever 15 kobo and NEM 1 kobo. Leading the list of top losers was Seplat, which shed 15 naira, Total with 10 naira, WAPCO with 2.25 naira, Guarantee 1.4 naira, and NB, which dropped by 1 naira and 1 kobo. The top trades were Zenith Bank, FBNH, Transcorp, Quarantine, Sovereignness, and Sovereignness. Market capitalization closed at 13.555 trillion naira, while the total deals in today's stock market were 4,043. Still ahead on Plus TV News is our roundup on sports and entertainment news. We'll be back in a moment.
And in entertainment, it will be recalled that 2 years ago, Genevieve Nnaji had shared pictures of her estate, which was under construction back then in Apodutse area of Abuja. The 39-year-old actress has now posted a picture of the newly completed estate on her Instagram page. Genevieve, who has proven herself in the movie industry, is one of the highest paid and most sought-after actresses, and also an ambassador to quite a number of brands, as well as several endorsements under her belt. Chinedu Ikedieze, popularly known as Aki, has been honored as a distinguished visitor to Miami-Dade County. The mayor of Miami-Dade County handed him a plaque. This was revealed via the actor's Instagram account, where he gave a vote of thanks to the mayor and the county commissioners for honoring him as a distinguished visitor to the city of Miami in Florida. The first recording contract for the music group Jackson 5 with the late Joe Jackson's signature will be up for sale at Guernsey's auction house in New York. The themed auction will see African-American historic and cultural treasures on sale on the 25th and 26th of July. The record contract was between Steeltown Records and the Jacksons, and it was signed by Joe on behalf of his 5 sons. The auction will cover more than 700 items from civil rights movement, African-American films and music, and it's predicted that the auction will break records in various categories. And that's it on entertainment, the very best in sports, right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Starting off from the local scene, Nigeria is at risk of a FIFA ban after a Jos court failed to deliver judgment on the case between Nigerian Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick and his challenger, Chris Giwa. And the 4-year-old case was expected to be resolved at the Federal High Court in Jos, and that's in Plateau State, on Tuesday, but it was adjourned till the 25th of September. And Pinnick has been the NFF president since 2014, but a Supreme Court ruling 2 weeks ago appeared to give Giwa the mandate, and he has since presumably assumed office. And for Giwa, he is not recognized by FIFA as he is serving a ban. He also lost the case with Pinnick at the Court of Arbitration for Sports, which is the highest adjudicator in sporting matters. If a ban is placed on Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria would not be able to play their Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Seychelles in September, while the Super Falcons, Falconets, and other national teams, including Enyimba, who are in the CAF Confederations Cup, would also be affected. Still on sports, going over to rugby, Technical Director of the Nigerian Rugby Football Federation, the NRFF, Ntiense Williams, has reported that the league matches will be resuming this weekend with fixtures spread nationwide. In the Northwest Center at Hanwa Rugby Grounds in Zaria, host Hanwa Rugby Club will take on Sabongeri Rugby FC on Saturday, the 14th of July by 3 p.m. And on Sunday, the 15th of July in Lagos at the main bowl of the National Stadium, Surulere, 4 matches will take place from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the first match of the day will feature the King's College Old Boys Rugby Club squaring it out with Dynamite Rugby Club of Ilorin at 10 a.m. in one of the Division 2 matches. And league leader Eko2 Rugby Club of Ajegunle will tackle Lagos Rugby Club at 12 noon. And in Divisions 1, matches at 2 p.m., Gosa Rugby Club will play against Racing Rugby Club, while the league champions Kari Rugby Club will face a rejuvenated Lagos Police Rugby Club at 4 p.m. to kick off their second phase of the Lagos Rugby League matches. And the North Central Rugby League will be on break this weekend. You can find more of the fixtures on our website, plustvafrica.com. And over to some transfer news. Real Madrid forward Cristiano Ronaldo has joined Juve in a deal worth 112 million euros, approximately 99.2 million pounds, becoming one of the 4 most expensive players of all time. And the top 2 world record transfers were paid out by Paris Saint-Germain in the 200 million pound deal for Brazil forward Neymar, who moved from Barcelona to PSG, and also the 166 million pound deal for France forward Kylian Mbappe. And Barcelona also paid 142 million pounds to Liverpool for Felipe Coutinho. And the Portuguese signed a 4-year deal with the Italian champions after winning 4 Champions League titles in his 9 years at Real Madrid. And the fee Juve will pay for Ronaldo is set to eclipse the 75.3 million pounds they paid for forward Gonzalo Higuain from Napoli in July 2016. And Juve are set to play Real Madrid in the preseason International Champions Cup tournament in the United States, with the match taking place at the FedEx Field in Washington on Saturday, the 4th of August. And still on transfer, Manchester City have broken their club record to sign winger Riyad Mahrez from Leicester City for £60 million. And the 27-year-old has signed a 5-year deal to become the Blues' first recruit since they won the Premier League. And they walked away from a potential deal for the Algerian in January after being put off by Leicester City's valuation for the player. And Mahrez said the club's style of play is perfect. It's perfect for him, and he wanted to be a part of a club which is redefining the English game. And going over to tennis, talking about the Wimbledon, former world number 1 Serena Williams survived the major scare in her quarterfinal clash with world number 52, the Italian Camilla Giorgi, to book a semi-final place at the ongoing Wimbledon Open title. And the 7-time champion lost the first set before taking the next 2 sets to beat Giorgi 3-6, 6-3, 6-4, thereby securing her spot in the final 4. And the 36-year-old American star will face Julia Georges of Germany in the semi-finals on Thursday in her bid to become the first mom to win a major after Kim Clijsters of Belgium and Australians Yvonne Goolagong-Cully and Margaret Court. And Georgia saw off Kiki Bertens of Belgium 3-6, 7-5, 6-1 in the quarterfinal clash to set up the meeting with Serena Williams. And that's it on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Thanks, Udoka. That's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I'm Lakwe Banjo. Have a great day.